What does it mean? Birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. Come and take a listen as I share my thoughts. Welcome to your emotional makeover. Things your mother never told you because no one ever told her. I'm your host, Dr. Amanda Hansen. This is where you reimagine womanhood. Let us begin. There is a saying, birds in a cage think that flying is an illness. This is something I've thought a lot about over the years. When we have been born into such profound levels of conditioning, and I'm speaking on behalf of women, but when we have been born into so much conditioning around what it means to be a good woman or a pleasing woman, a woman who plays along with the rules, when a woman becomes more conscious and decides to start stepping outside of those rules and those confines and begins sourcing for herself something that feels more true, more authentic, and more aligned for her, the others standing around, still stuck inside of their cages, will look at her as she reaches around and unlocks her cage and wonder if she's gone mad. They will question her sanity. And often what is really happening is the projection of those who are still sitting inside of their cages. It's their fear that she's reached around and unlocked herself. It's their fear that if they were to do that, they would never survive. They would be rejected. They would no longer be loved. They would no longer feel worthy. People may leave them. So when a woman becomes that brave and that free to reach around and unlock herself from the cage of patriarchy, we point at her and we call her unhinged instead of free. We call her crazy instead of honest. We call her mad instead of brave. So we take her freedom and we vilify it and we point it back at her and try to make her afraid of it as well. Try to make her afraid that she will be rejected. She will be standing alone. She will be deemed as crazy or as a witch. And I share this today because in my last several years, as I've watched this happen, so many women around me who love the work that I'm doing, but cannot believe how free I am living, cannot believe I say the things that I say, cannot believe that I am so willing to continue to show up with so much authenticity, not play by the patriarchal rules, not say the things to be pleasing, but to say the truth of my heart. Many women say to me, how are you able to be that free? Isn't it scary? Isn't it isolating? Don't you feel like people are going to reject you or leave you? And I say, certainly they will. And it will always be the people who were never meant for me anyways. And I'm sharing this today. It felt so heavy on my heart to share this message today because I want you to know that if you have finally taken yourself out of the cage and you are beginning to stretch your wings and soar and fly through the air and feel liberated and free, notice and normalize that your freedom will be terrifying to others who could have never even imagined that that was possible. They will be watching, waiting for you to fall and crash and burn to say, see, I knew it. I knew she couldn't soar much longer. I knew something was going to happen. But I will continue standing here or soaring over here in this part of the world, showing you what it gets to look like, showing you that it is possible. That your truth, your authenticity, that part of you that is aching to come more fully expressed and alive is meant for you. It's even, I'd go as far as to say it's meant for the world, because every time I've become louder, braver, and freer, it has given permission simply by existing for other women watching to become louder, braver, and freer as well. I hear from these women, hundreds of them every single day from all around the world. And that's why I wanted to share this with you today, because those women keep saying to me, thank you, please never stop. I need an example to know that I too get to choose this for myself, because here's the reality. When we don't have a lot of examples in our family, in our close proximity with our friends, our coworkers, or in our communities, when we don't have women who are living more of a renegade lifestyle, we don't even think that it's possible. And at some point, you do have to just normalize being a free agent. It has been happening to me for so many years, from as early as choosing natural childbirth for my children. Many of the medical decisions I made for our family, many of the ways we were parenting, the ways we were living as a couple, choices we were making about our lifestyle, our marriage. People always questioned why and how I was so free. And I know it is because I did not look up for approval. The only approval I have been sourcing for the past decade and a half has been within. Prior to that, I had betrayed that feeling in me, that truth in me, the longing in me, the desire in me, the alignment that wanted so much to come out, because I had convinced myself that nobody would like that version of me, that it might be too much. So while I was living pretty audaciously for at least 2 decades, a lot of it I was keeping very, very private and under wraps, because of the fear of the rejection from family, from friends, from society. And over the years, as I got a little braver and a little bit more free, I started to come out of hiding, to the point now where I am fully out of hiding. So much so that I'm spreading the message around the world. And with 150 million women reached in the past 2 years, I know that the truth of this message is resonating deeply. And I want to continue to remind you that while you become more free and as you begin to fly and soar, there will be days where it feels safer back inside of the cage. But don't abandon yourself. Don't go back to the belief that the safety of those cold bars is where you ever belonged. You were born to be the biggest, most glorious, most self-expressed version of yourself for you and for the world. We as women are in a great crisis right now. We are profoundly suffering. I know that often playing by the rules and staying small makes us feel safer and makes us feel like we'll get all of the pats on the back and all the loving nods of approval from all of the other women. We fear becoming the woman who marches ahead. We fear becoming the woman who stands a little taller, who dresses a little bit more freely, who speaks with zero apology in her voice. We fear becoming that woman because we fear the rejection of other women. What if you got to make your freedom mean inspiration for other women rather than rejection from other women? I assure you, if you are listening to this podcast, wherever you are in the world right now, and you feel the truth percolating inside of you that you were not meant to stay inside of a cage and slowly wither away and die, if you feel the truth of that beating inside of you, it's because it's the truth. Please hear me. I was you. I was her. I was the girl who wasted so much time being small and pleasing. For what? So that other people could smile and nod? I encourage you to keep going. I encourage you that if you want to soar in the sky and not stay in the cage, it's because you were born to be a leader. You were born to be a leader for your family, for your community, for the world at large. How big can you soar? My dream is that I look around and there are so many of us that we normalize freedom for women. We normalize authenticity. We normalize bravery and their voice, so much so that those statements even go away. It just becomes the way that women are leading their lives, their bodies, their families, because they've decided they were always meant to be that free. So today I want you to think about what's the very first step you would need to take to just become 1% more free from that cage you are living in. Maybe today it's when someone says a derogatory statement to you, you speak up. Maybe today it's when someone is sharing something that you disagree with, you share your opinion. Maybe today it's when you go and ask for a pay raise. Maybe today it's when you put on the outfit and leave your house without questioning what other people will think, but knowing that you've adorned yourself in a way that feels so nourishing for you. Maybe today, when the woman sitting next to you puts herself down, you ask her if there's a more beautiful way she would consider speaking to herself, rather than commiserating with her and putting yourself down. Call her higher. Call yourself higher. Let's call our sisters and our daughters and all of the women who are watching and waiting for more leaders. Please, let's call each other higher. There's nothing incredible about staying small. There's nothing that will be wildly remembered about you hiding or apologizing every time you share your thoughts or your feelings. Take up space and remember that when birds fly, it is the way they were always meant to be. There is no illness. The inherent illness is only in the birds inside of the cage, believing that those who are soaring are the ones that are sick. Stay free, sisters, and stay close. If you are looking for community, if you are looking for more women who are questioning everything under which we have been living in this patriarchalized world, come and join us November 2nd and 3rd in Phoenix, Arizona at Magnetic, where we will be doing the ultimate of liberation, where we will be getting free minute by minute, hour by hour, ritual by ritual, so that you will be able to walk away with the understanding of what it gets to feel like in your body and the tangible tools for how it gets to look every single day in your life. And if you live on the other side of the world and feel that it's impossible, well, many people are coming from all over the world to Magnetic. If for you it feels impossible to make the voyage, then come and join those of us in my international community, the Muses, where women are doing this work daily. It is profound, it is deep, it is radical, and we are getting freer and freer, soaring higher and higher by the day. You don't have to do this alone. You were never meant to do this alone. And I realize there are so few spaces where we can be this raw and this authentic. The simple fact that the story that I shared a couple of days ago about why I don't do get ready with me videos, the reality that alone blew so many people's minds away. They thought, my gosh, I've never even considered that before. I shared the fact that I don't do get ready with me videos because I find it deeply insulting. I find it insulting that I actually think that I have to perform for you to actually listen. That I can't just speak the words of truth and beauty that are in my heart, that I can't share a powerful message for women without also having to do a circus act. This was something that blew women's minds. And they said, I never even thought about it like that. We as women are expected to overserve. We're expected that we're not as relevant just by speaking a message, that we also have to be putting on makeup. And so when I shared that, the reactions reminded me why this message about birds flying was so important. We need thought leaders who are showing us a different way. If you want to be in high-level thought leadership, if you want to be having these kinds of conversations every single day, come and join me in the Muses community. This is what we're doing. We are deconstructing around every single aspect of our lives. And doing so does not mean that you will have to leave your partner. As a matter of fact, my hope is always that you get to bring your partner in for something even deeper, even more profound intimacy that you hadn't been able to access when you were living more unconsciously. The more conscious you become to your life, the more free you become in your life, the more you soar, the more beautiful and intimate all of your relationships get to be. The ones that are meant for you. Of course, the rest will naturally fall away and make space for something more true and beautiful to come along. You don't have to do this alone. That's what I want us all to remember. We weren't meant to stay behind our four walls and our fences, trying to figure this out by ourselves. It's why so many women are suffering from depression. We were meant to come together in community. We were meant to deconstruct this patriarchal status quo and live more wholly, more beautifully, and more authentically. I will see you on this journey when you step into becoming the woman who decides to soar. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I would love to hear your feedback. Message me on Instagram or write a review. And of course, if you know a woman who could benefit from this episode, please share it with her because it can heal her life. And that's what sisters do. Love always, Dr. Amanda.